LSU. One of my I spent, how you doing? I spent half a day with him the day up in where Bill is. Bill's a legend in the NFL. And Bill was the head coach at LSU and was a former split end, or not split end, when he played at Kentucky many years ago. He was a tight end, and they all called them ends at that time when they were all tight. And he and I went around and around about that. When you're teaching kids about catching the football, my philosophy's always been teach them how to run the route that you're trying to teach. Then catching the football becomes easier. But what happens a lot of times to kids when they're learning how to catch a football in high school or in any particular level, especially the younger levels, is you're trying to teach them to run a route, and then you want them to catch the ball. So what you're saying to a guy is you may be teaching him 2 or 3 things, and he can't do but one of them at a time and learn how to do it. So that's always been my feeling, always been my philosophy. Once the route's accomplished and you begin to get a good feel for the route, then the catches become easier. And I've told my guys through the years, even in pro football, the things we want to get good at are, we want to be great route runners. We want to know what the coverage is. When we know what those are and we're comfortable with them, then the catching the football becomes very easy. When your routes are sloppy and the quarterback doesn't have a feel for where the receiver is going to be, he has a problem knowing where the guy's going to be, and therefore the ball has become erratic, and it isn't a smooth operation. So, that's a little bit of what I think about catching the football. Now, when you start to just work on the catching elements of the football, catching the ball, hand placement is huge. I have a kid from Alabama that played high school football, was a heavily recruited kid in high school. Played at Alabama for 4 years, started for 3, came in this year as a rookie. When you throw him a hook pass, a hook where he pushes up the field, here's what he does with his hands. He turns his hands like that. Where are his elbows at? They're sticking out. So when the ball comes to him, it comes with velocity on it. He doesn't have anything to stop it with. And so it took me most of the year to get him to where he took his elbows and he meets the ball. And what I tell him is, your elbows to you catching the football when you're facing the quarterback are like shock absorbers on a car. You meet the ball, you give with the velocity of it, and you want your elbows to be in this position here when you're facing the quarterback. There's different areas. The hardest routes. Let's just talk about. I'm a receiver and I'm running a hitch route. Just a little simple 5-yard hitch. When I get to the top of the route, let's say the quarterback's where that pink thing is over there. Okay, I snap up, boom. Now I turn. The other thing I never tell our guys is, I don't ever want you to point with your arms. How many kids you see running around, they come out of a hook route and they do this? You don't want to point. Just let you snap at the top, just let your arms be right here. Now, the ball comes and you slide and get with the ball. The ball's here, you meet the ball. If the ball's up to the upfield shoulder, you slide step. You don't do this or step around the corner. You slide and you always want to meet the ball. If the ball is low, there's different, if the ball is low, you scoop it. If the ball is high, you jump. And when you jump for the ball, these are all things I'm saying to you. I just got done the last hour. I said, just because you see it on film doesn't mean you can do it. Because if that was the case, you show your kid Jerry Rice, he looks at it and says, shit, I can do that. That's easy. Let's just go out and do it. Takes a lot of drill. For example, on a high ball, when you're facing the quarterback and they throw you the ball, you should meet the ball here. Most guys meet it where? Here. That's how they jump. When they jump for a ball, they jump here. Now what happens? The velocity on the ball does that, and they don't catch it. When you meet it here, you have give with the ball. So those are huge elements in terms of hand placement about where the ball comes to. So there's different, I'm going to talk to you a little bit and I'm going to show you some tape on some of this stuff. I talked about, let me see. Okay, let's talk about just routes that tie in. Anytime you're facing the quarterback, again, we talked about if I'm facing you and if I come up the top and I hook, I drop my weight, pivot, come out, come back to I'm moving back to the quarterback in a very soft manner. Anytime you're running hook routes, when we run hitch routes, a little 5 yards with a 3-step drop, when we snap up, boom, we don't come back to the ball because we figure the ball is going to be right on top of us. When we run hook routes, 12-yard hooks, 16-yard hooks, 18-yard hooks up the field, okay? When we come out of the route, the top of the route, and we come out, we accelerate and come back. When we come back to the ball, we come back under control to the quarterback with our hands just like this, and when he throws the ball, we want to meet the ball here. Meet the ball here, be moving to the ball on any hook route. Moving away from the defender, moving back to the quarterback in a nice, easy manner. The ball is thrown up here, we want to extend with our arms in front of us. If the ball's, and here's what I tell them. You always thumb to thumb. You're always thinking thumb to thumb until you get to your belly button. Then you turn it over and you go pinky to pinky. That way your hand placement is where you want it to be. When the ball's low, we go to the scoop technique. What's the scoop technique? I'm coming back, he throws it down, I'm gonna drop down here, and I'm gonna scoop the ball here, and then roll over on my side. I'm not gonna come back and catch it here and dive and fall. Why? First of all, I'm gonna knock the wind out of myself when I fall on the ball, and the other thing is, most of the time, when you fall on the ball, you leave it down in the ref's mind, and most of the time they'll call it like this. So when you scoop, you wanna scoop and roll. So that when after you roll and you're on your side, they can't do anything but give you the catch. Okay, we talked about when you're facing the quarterback. Now let's talk about when you're moving across the field. The same rules apply when you're crossing the field. If I'm running across the field and you're throwing me the football, I'm crossing the field, I'm running, and we tell our guys a couple things. Obviously, as a man-to-man, you're going to accelerate and run away from the defender. If it's a zone and we're running a crossing route, a dig, or however you call it, you're crossing the field, and the quarterback throws you the football, we tell them, you never stop, you let the quarterback stop you with the ball. Okay, but as you're crossing the field, you're coming across here and you're running, the quarterback throws you the ball, you got your shoulders parallel line of scrimmage. As the ball approaches, what you'd like to do is just get a little bit of a turn right here and get your hands in front of you again and meet it. I had a little guy when I was coaching at LSU, he always wanted to catch him like this. And I used to tell him the problem you got with that is when the ball hits you here, the velocity of the ball traveling at whatever speed it travels at carries you up here, and it's very awkward. So you like this. Your shoulders are going this way, and the ball comes and you go that way, and you can't catch it. Nothing wrong with catching it here with your hands in this position. There's nothing wrong with sometimes having to extend, but if you have to extend, you'd like to extend this way to give yourself a chance to do this, okay? And you'd also like to teach them, and these are things, and little things that you have to teach, is teach them to have their elbows tighter as you extend. You want your elbows tighter. When your elbows are wider, you can create a bigger gap in there. This is a lot of guys will extend this way, and some guys can catch them. The problem is with this, you don't get a second chance because your hand placement knocks the ball down. That's when we do the same thing when we're talking about, and I'm going to show you on the board, little drills that we do where we have a little quarterback throw us a little quick 5-yard out route where we got to get our head around and boom. And one of the things we'll do to help the eye-hand coordination on getting picking up the ball real fast is I never throw the ball. I'm in a better situation than you guys, but I never throw the ball to receivers. And why don't I throw the ball? Because when you're throwing the ball, you can't watch him. When you're throwing the ball to a kid, it's very hard to teach him. Watch his feet, watch his eyes, watch his hands. You can't do it. Maybe you don't have it. If you got a third quarterback or somebody that a JV kid or something, you can use. But one thing we'll do is I'll have a quarterback right here, and I'll have my receivers lined up like this. Here's the sideline right here, and I'll just tell this kid to go. I'll just tell them they got to look straight ahead and say go. They take off, go, and a quarterback throws the ball. They're going to be on the out of bounds. They're not going to be lined up at about 5 yards from the out of bounds line. So we're going to do two things. We're going to teach them how to keep their feet in bounds, and we're going to teach them how to pick up the ball real fast. So let's say the fire extinguisher's out of bounds, and let's say, what's your name, Coach?
Charlie.
Charlie, you're the quarterback, okay? Now, I'm not going to put you very far away because I want you to be able to throw it and be quick with it. So you got about 3 or 4 footballs lined up right there with somebody to hand them to you. You're going to say, all you do is, I'm the coach and I'm standing there, and I say, go. You throw it, boom, he goes, he catches the ball, We like them to catch it like this, depending where the placement is. If the ball's here, he catches it back. Some of it's okay to catch it back here. If it's out here, we want to extend, and then we want to get our feet in bounds at the same time. So you do a 2-in-1. You're doing a little 2-in-1 drill right there. Okay, that's a good little drill. You can do it. Another way you can do it is you can do the last part of the route. One of the things we'll do, run a little quick outs that we run down the red zone sometimes. The quarterback will be on his, he'll be already in his drop, and we'll just have the kid have line up there. I'll tell him run the route. Boom. Next guy's up. Run the route. Boom. We're working on the route, working on the feet. Yes, sir.
Coach, in that first drill, where will you stand then? Where can you see their eyes best?
Okay. It'll be like this.
Yeah.
Like that. I'll put myself out right there.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Because I want to see what they're, what they're seeing, and then I want to watch their. And sometimes when you're watching your hands, you don't see if I'm watching their hand placement, I don't see their, I don't see their eyes. I mean, I see their eyes and their feet. One of the things I was going to tell you about that cross in the field thing, the same kid from Alabama, we were out there after practice working on running dig routes for, just what I would have him do was, I'd have the young kid stand here as quarterback, and I put, we run some of them at 12 and some at 18. I put him at 18 yards, and I just say he's going to run across the field and tell him to throw the ball, and he'd catch it. Well, when I was standing there watching him run at me coming this way, the thing I noticed he was having trouble. He'd pull his head away from the ball. When the ball comes, you want to see the ball, meet it. He had a habit of this. The ball came, pull his head back like that, very little, but enough that you get an inconsistent thing right there. So that's why things about watching, watching him instead of watching. When you're throwing it, you can't see all those things. So that's one of the reasons I do that. And I work a huge amount on routes and catching. I'm not, and just little things like the drills. And so, what we'll do is, again, line up like this and have them go across the field. And then the other thing we'll do is, in camp, we'll do this. I'll have all the receivers line up like this. And then say that used to be David Boston. And what I'll have to do is this guy will run across the field, and the quarterback can throw it through any of these windows he wants to. And I want those guys, they're going to be fairly close apart, and they just kind of go like this, and you give it, they'll run across. You're watching, I'm over here, and I'm watching them, as they cross, watching their technique. He's throwing the ball, he's getting a chance to make his throw. I'll tell him to just take the last 3 steps of the drop, so we're not taking a lot of time. Again, time becomes a big factor in all this stuff. So he's crossing, running in between here, and he gets over here and he comes back. And this guy comes and he goes in here, and you just rotate it, and you get a chance to, get some throws and catch the ball. One of the other things we'll do is we'll work on that scoop drill. The scoop drill is really hard because, I try to get maybe one of them guys that's got a decent arm. You don't want to do it with your quarterback because you don't want to screw him up and have him throwing low balls. But you can get 4 or 5 scoops in a relatively short period of time. You stand right there again, Charlie. You're standing where you are, and I'm here. Just fire him. Tell him to throw him low, and you just scoop it. Learn how to, again, keeping your elbows as you do. You're here to scoop, not here. You want to scoop in tight. Scoop in tight like that. So the scoop drill is a real good drill. It's the hardest one to get much of because you got to get somebody to throw them good. You don't want to jam their fingers and all that kind of stuff. So, but we do that drill. We do it more in camp. I don't do it when the season starts. The other thing I don't do during the season, again, this is me and against you. I tell them in practice that the quarterback throws a real bad ball and it's going to go in the ground right there. Don't dive for it. Don't, we want to dislocate the shoulder. We don't want to have you come up with a big your finger sticking out here and then you go in the game and you can't catch the ball. So even though those things sound like, well, you let them off with something, they're going to dive on Saturday or Sunday or Friday night. Most of them will, but you don't want to be careful. You don't want to get them hurt during the week doing those things. Another thing I do during practice, I'm going to give you some ball things, some good little ball drills to do. When we start off practice, a lot of times, I do a little progression drill right here, and I'll have here's the receivers, here's the quarterback. Got to make sure we have 2 quarterbacks. And the very first thing I'll do is just this is just getting loose. We come off, we just stride, and we throw on the ball. Okay, then we come back, and then we do buddy up. buddy up means they pair. Everybody, you know, got a guy here, got a guy here, got a guy here. Buddy up means he's gonna catch it, he runs with it. Now, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything, he just runs with him. He just runs right beside him, doesn't do, you know what I want him to do? I want him to hear the sound of somebody running next to him. Okay, so you're practicing, you know, I've seen it happen a million times. They run down the field, catch them all day, and then you put somebody running next to them in the game, you know, and their old pants get brown. You know, so, you know, we do that. This is buddy up. You say, buddy up. Again, don't want to spend a lot of time. Buddy up drill. Don't run down there, and the guy's going to run right beside him, just side by side. You know, I want no nudging, just he can run down the field, you throw him the ball. Now, we're doing a couple things. We got a guy running beside us, so we feel that guy. Okay, we want good hand placement. We want the ball, we'd like the ball to be extended over. And the thing we want to do is, if we have to go for the ball, Coach, we want to make sure that we keep our elbows in and reach at the last second. How many times you see kids miss it? Why? Because their elbow's right here. And what we teach is accelerating. We want to keep the shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage as long as we can. Why? Why, Coach? Why we want to keep, we're going on deep ball, why we want to keep them shoulders? Yeah, we want to keep our speed. I'll never forget this. I had a kid at Detroit. It was our second-round draft pick in 1998 named Jermaine Crowell. Could run like the wind. I'm talking 4.36 on grass before he got hurt. We're playing Green Bay. We're going to put this, we're just going to run a takeoff with him on the corner because we knew we had a mismatch. He takes off, shakes that guy at the line of scrimmage in the press. I'm talking about he's as open as from me to you, right here. In the pro ball, that's a mile. Quarterback throws the ball with a loft, anticipating him to run under it, and what you see is, as the ball, he's running down the field, his shoulders he starts to do this. He overthrows him by 3 yards, and in practice, he'd have probably underthrown him by 3 yards. But again, we try to tell him a couple things. We don't try to tell him, we tell him, keep your shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage as long as you can. We want you accelerated, okay? And then we want you to take your arms and put them up to the last second. We want those elbows to be close together when you put them up. That way you get a chance, if you bobble, you get a chance to catch it on the second go round versus this right here, which is embarrassing. Now, the last thing we do in the buddy drill, okay, is we buddy up. We do a lot of things in the buddy drill, okay? But we do in the buddy up on this one, okay, we run, and we run with a guy. And the next thing we do on buddy drill is this guy right here, bang, he runs, he's going to catch it. That guy runs with him, and he's going to bang it. He's going to kind of lean on him, nudge him. Quarterback's going to throw the ball up here. The guy who's the DB is going to let him catch it, so he's going to bang him a couple times, and then pull off at the last second. So the guy has to feel that, which he's going to have to do in the game. Then the next thing we'll do on buddy drill is we're going to do the underthrown ball. Okay, so we're buddy up. He takes off. This guy's kind of banging him a little bit. They're running side by side. We tell the quarterback, once you throw the ball about 20 yards down the field, throw it up real high. And what we want the receiver to do is we want the receiver to outmaneuver the defender. Because if you watch your video, probably 90% of the time, when the ball is underthrown, a lot of times the receiver stops and watches the ball as it falls instead of it getting in position. So what we tell them is this. How about you, Coach? Sure. We're running down the field, okay? We're coming at you. And I'm the receiver, and you're, let's switch places. Let me think how I want this. Okay, you're the defender. I'm the receiver, so we're doing the buddy drill, we run down the field. Okay, now he throws the ball. What this guy needs to do is when he sees the ball, he needs to get position like you do getting a rebound. Just like you get a rebound. So as I see the ball is going to be underthrown, I want to, if I have to kind of pull that guy by a little bit, and once I get myself in this position right here, now what I want to do is this. I want to put my arms right here, and I want you to try to get by me. And then what do I have to do at the end? Elevate. Now, all that sounds, how do you do that? That's coaching clinic. You can't do It's happened in games where we've won the jump ball because we got ourselves in good position. You have to drill it, okay? You can't just tell them, you have to drill it, and it's a progression thing. You may not be able to get all of it done in one, you don't do all this in one practice, okay, but once you get it installed and you go through the season, okay, we're gonna do buddy drill today, we're gonna do underthrown ball. We're gonna do buddy drill today, we're gonna do bump, catching. So what you're doing is, and then, again, you might have your younger guys be the guys, always be the DBs, and you got your older guys catching, the guys that are gonna play for you, they're the guys doing the catching in the game now. Those are little things that help you. When I was coaching when I started doing it a long time ago. Fred Blitnikoff and I went to college together. We were best friends. We were roommates. And I was a quarterback, he was a wide receiver. He was a hell of a lot better wide receiver than I was a quarterback. So he's in the Hall of Fame and I'm not. But one of the things that we used to do when we started doing things, drilling, one of the guys that was a PE teacher down there was a big guy on eye-hand coordination. And so when you got young kids that you're trying to teach how to catch the football, I have a guy, Marte Jenkins, who has great speed, but he's a little inconsistent. He gets himself in trouble sometimes with poor hand placement. He gets himself in trouble because he takes his eye off the ball. But one of the things that Fred and I used to do is to work, for me, even for being a quarterback, we used to get a basketball. You can do this with the young kids. Get a I have a football here, but get a basketball. Make the kid put one arm behind his back. Get in the gym against the wall, and you just take that basketball and you wind up bouncing it off the wall, just like that. Now, most players are going to be one-handed better than the other ones. Sometimes on hook patterns, I'll watch some of our guys, and you'll see a guy, he'll catch the hook pattern, he'll catch this much of it with his right hand or left hand, and he'll just use this hand as a guide hand because he doesn't have as much coordination in the other hand. You'll have guys that run routes, they run a great out route on the right side or on the left side when they're coming off their right foot, and they stink on the other side because their left foot is not as coordinated if they're right-footed. So so what you see is that kid, and then you put the kid, I'm left-handed, so catching the ball with the left hand is a lot easier for me. When I get on the right, I'm not quite as good. So you make that kid put that ball behind his back, and you don't want to put him very far away from the ball. Just take the basketball, boom, 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 boom. Make him 25 here, 25 there, 25 here, 25 there. Okay? You start to do that, and you just make him do it every day. Every day. You're going to get 100 of them every day. 100 with each hand. Then after he gets pretty proficient at that right there, then you take that and you put the football. Then you give him the football. Then you start doing it with the football. And just like I was doing. You just against the wall, you want to do it, get the ball just like this, boom, 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 catching off the wall, catching off the wall, and it'll come off crazy. The football is going to come off crazier, obviously, than the basketball. Make it do more with his hand that's not good than he does with the hand. We all love to do what we do well with our good hand and not with our other hand, and you'll see the same thing. And all of a sudden, that guy's eye-hand coordination is going to get a lot better. He's going to get a lot better because he's using his eye-hand coordination every day. There's a million different things. Running something by their eyes, having a guy stand and walk in front of them. Do the drill where you're throwing them a hook pattern and you take a little towel and stick it up there right as the ball's coming to them. Those are all little things you can do, incorporate. One of the things I was going to show you on catching a hook pass. When you catch a hook pass, I always say this. When you catch a ball and you're facing the quarterback and you come back, you'd like to catch it like you're trying to if I say to you, let the air out of the ball, this is how you want to let the air out of the ball right there. You want to catch, this is the strength of your catching apparatus here and in here when you're facing the court. That's what you want. Just right there. Got a little air. You can see right there, that's how you want to catch the ball. It doesn't always happen like that. When you're crossing the field and you're catching the football and you meet it, you want to be catching it like this too. In this position right here, if it's below your waist, I tell them this, if it's below your waist, you want to make sure, you always want to ensure the catch. And the simplest way to tell kids is, hey Joe, you make the catch, two things happen. Number one, you might get a chance to run with it. And number two, when you pick up the paper on Saturday morning, it's gonna say, Joe, 1 catch, 15 yards. If you drop it, you don't get a chance to run with it. And when you pick up the paper on Saturday morning, it doesn't say anything about Joe. And they understand that, you know, and that's a simple little deal, but, you know, my guys I got in pro ball, they'll laugh when I tell them that. But they know what I'm saying because it's, you know, it's part of the deal. So in catching the football, and again, I think you need to show them, you know, the technique of how you want to call it. Sometimes we assume, and you want to assume anything. I was telling the group in here the first time, the first thing I do when guys come to camp, when we come to camp, the first thing we do is work on our stance, and I make each one of them put the ball, after they catch it, here's how I want them to hold the ball. 2 fingers over the end, I want them to squeeze the ball against their side when they run with the ball. Now, in the NFL, this is the style, this is how we all want to run with it like that. And I tell them, if you're fast as hell and you get out ahead of everybody and you can do that, great. If you drop the damn thing, it's only it's a $4,000 fine out of your paycheck, so just decide if it's worth it to you, the style. But this is how, in traffic, we want you to carry the ball right there. We want that thing mashed up against your side, and, you know, we want you to take care of the football. And the other thing is, don't switch the ball. Don't switch the ball. When I was growing up, you know, they used to teach you how to drill, you run this way, and then you switch it, and you go this way. Well, I have a little rule, and here's what I tell our guys. The guy that's going to make you fumble the ball isn't the guy you see, it's the guy you don't see. So we have a rule, when you run with a football, after you make the catch, you don't switch the ball. Don't switch the ball. I just tell them, what's your rule when you got the ball? And they know. It ain't the guy you see, it's the guy you don't see is going to knock it out of your arms. And that's what you got to be aware of. Okay, something everybody wants to talk about, you know, after you make the catch, I'm going to show you some video of guys catching different ways and different things. We tell them, you know, we have a rule for the receiver. When another receiver catches the ball, turn and block the man covering you. The other thing is, I think situations in terms of what kind of kid you have, I like to tell guys when you catch hook passes. In our league, there's so much speed, and it closes so the window of opportunity or the window of after the catch closes so fast. Make one quick move and accelerate up the field and get north and south. You know, the longer you stand in one place, the more hits you're going to take, the greater the opportunity for error, and those kind of things right there. So we tell them, make one quick move, accelerate, like we catch a little 5-yard hitch pass, which we'll do sometimes. You know, I'll tell them, okay, you catch the ball, boom, make a little jab step, wheel, get up the field, drop your shoulder, and accelerate up the field. We use the word accelerate all the time, you know, because accelerate to a guy, they understand that from their cars. Acceleration, okay, is a huge thing in terms of running. We want to talk about smoothness as a wide receiver. We talk about accelerating. We talk about great receivers are defined by a couple different elements. Great receivers to me are defined by consistency over time. They're defined by how fast you can stop, how sudden you can be. Suddenness is a huge advantage, whether got press or whether you catch a hook pass, it can really accelerate after you make the play. And you'll see that on the tape. Those are little elements that those are little elements that make for big elements. And when you're talking to guys about being wide receivers, whether they're young kids, I think in young kids you want to do drills. As kids get older and more mature, they want, there's more things they can do to make themselves better. When you're young, eye-hand coordination, that little basketball drill. There's another drill you can do. It's a fun drill for after practice, maybe for your wide receivers. And what you do is you have 2 footballs. I don't have 2 here, but we'll say this is a ball, coach. Okay. What you do is you put 3 guys go together. You 2, or you can even do it with 3 across and 1. But it's always one guy here. And what you do is, I have the ball and you have the ball. And the coach, and they'll do it by themselves once you show them how to do it. You just say go, and as soon as you say go, boom, I throw it to you, boom, boom. And you never throw to him. You always throwing to me. And you throw just a little triangle, it's a simple little drill, and and they try to see how long you can go without making each other miss. Now, you don't want the kid to, wind up and try to kill him. But I'm saying it's kind of like a basketball drill. You boom, and then bam, bam. It doesn't make any difference. And you got to throw it back to me. And I can throw it. There's no progression. I can throw boom, boom, boom. I can throw it to you twice, and what it does is it makes them have to see and catch it quick. And it's just, and what they'll be laughing, and then all of a sudden they'll get competitive about it. And it's just, you can do it in a 2-3 minute period of time, and they have fun with it. And it's a simple, and you want things that are simple for them. Where, if you have a long, elaborate drill in practice, the problem is how many reps can you get? You got to get it taught before you get on the field, so you get something done. And I think those are things you need to be aware of in your ball catching drills. There's a million drills to do this. How can you incorporate it where you can get as much as you want to get out of it? Like if you do one a day and it's a short 5-minute drill, I think it's very purposeful. We'll tie in, like if I'm working a hook route today, we run hooks, and we run our stopping routes. We have a hitch. Just to give you an example, we have a quarterback here. We'll go through our stopping routes. We'll have a hitch at 5 to 6. We have what we call a short 6, which is we throw off a 5-step drop. It's a 4th outside step for the receiver. It's usually an 8 to 10 yard. We have a 12-yard hook, which is our base hook. We have a 16-yard hook that we use in some third down situation, and then we have a 20-yard hook that we use, and then we have a route we call a hinge route we use at 20 yards. And these are, I'm not trying to impress you what we do, I'm just saying, but all those are stopping type routes. So on a particular day, I may say, okay, we're going to work on, if you're working on this one or this one or this one or any of these besides the hitch, if you do it at 12, you're doing it 60, you're doing it 20, you get the same deal out of it. So we work the 12-yarder in terms of trying to get more reps and not kill them. And we're trying to work on a technique of pushing, accelerating, how snapping out of the thing. One of the things I always talk to our guys about, and I don't know, maybe it'll be on that tape, is when you're running hook routes, this is a thing that goes with catching the football. When I'm accelerating at the top of the route and I'm trying to see how quick I can stop, I have to have a center of gravity to stop. So I'm running off the field, and you're the quarterback, and I'm going to hook up at the top. So I'm up here, and I accelerate, and I drop my weight. I always want to tell them, let your feet get you out before your head comes around. Because here's what happens on hook routes. Guys are running up the field, and as soon as, where do you want them to come, what foot do you want to come off of? You want to come off their inside or outside? Outside. So as soon as that head starts to turn, which you see them do, why? Because when they were 5 years old, their dad threw them a ball when they weren't looking to hit them in the head. So every time they think that one's coming, I think they're going to get hit in the head. So as soon as that head starts to turn, what happens to the body is, the body, as that shoulder starts to come around, you can't come off your outside foot anymore. So what you wind up doing at the top of the route is, you wind up swinging that leg across, and what happens is when it's wet, or you got grass, is they start leaning back and they fall right on their ass, because you can't stop and turn on the same foot. You can't, physically impossible. You can't stop on that foot and turn on it at the same time. So that's why I say to them, your head stays up the field till your feet get you out of the route, and then as you push off that outside instep and come back to the ball, then it becomes very, very simple. But when it becomes hard is, they run up the field, they start to turn that head, the quarterback thinks they're going to be coming back to the ball, they can't quite get back because the technique's improper, and they roll, he throws it here, and they're, boom, we got an incompletion. So, that's just a little thing. Same thing with how many of you run speed outs? You run the old speed out? Yeah. I tell our guys, no matter what speed route we're running quick out, we run, if those are inside right there, what you, Aaron? This is like our inside route tree for our outside receivers. That's our inside turns, our inside. When we do our outsides, if we're at the quarterbacks here, we're on the same side. We have a quick out, which we speed turn. We have a 10 roll to 12, which we speed turn. We have a 18-yard comeback, okay, and then we have a 25-yard comeback, which we don't use much, but we have technique basically of coming out of those routes is all about the same. What we say to them is, you're only allowed 2 yards on the speed turn. If we run a speed dig inside, or we run a speed outside, you only get 2 yards on speed turn. This is things about throwing and catching. Here's the distortion. When your quarterback sits over here, here's my quarterback, here's my wide receiver. He's got some left-handed, I'm sorry, sometimes you can't see it. Here's my wide receiver, and he runs a nice 10 roll to 12. We do it off our 3rd inside step. Now, if you're a guy with a long stride, in the playbook we say speed 3 cut, 10 roll to 12. Now, if you're 5'1", it may be 8 roll to 10 because of your stride. If you're 6'4", it may be 11 roll to 13, but it's the 3rd inside step that you begin your speed turn with. But if this guy does this, this is the way we want to run. If we do this, which you get on your out, some of your speed outs, the distortion is your quarterback thinks he's going to be here, and this guy does a crappy out speed turn, and now he throws it here, and this guy's up the field running the 4 route, and you get the distortion. It doesn't happen. So those are things in terms of the throwing game that you have to be aware of all the time. One of the things I want to do is, I got my tape over here. I don't have a pointer. I'm upset with myself because I can't hardly breathe without one of them. But I'm going to put it in. What you're going to see is there's going to be some subtitles on here. I put some different kinds of stuff on here, and some of them's going to be releases. And tomorrow I'm going to be out in the field. Tell you what.
Always prepared.
I owe you one.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Just for the summer when you let me come by.
Hey, you're welcome. Like the flag stand, that's where we are.
It's push on the side. You should do it.
Okay, you got a little button right here. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the field, and I'm going to be, most of my stuff tomorrow I'm going to be talking about press releases. You'll see some of them here on video, but I'll be more on the field tomorrow in my presentations. These are some things, you'll see some guys get off the press, some catches. One of the things I do when we video is, a guy doesn't necessarily have to catch the ball for me to put it on the video. If he has a good release in practice, he has a good release. I make a video, I have a history, basically, of guys, different, no matter, if I take that film and I show it 10 years from now, all of what I apply here is going to be good for a long time to come. This is going to be just about releases, but you'll see some catches. You'll see some, you're going to see some big time plays in some senses, but you're going to see some technique that's good, and some technique that's not so good at different times. Because it's like anybody else's element, the element of human error in there. But you got to drill them. No matter what you do, you have to spend time drilling. Now, before I put the video on, anybody got any question? No matter how, you're here to try to get something from me to help you. I'm here to try to give you a broad view on a lot of different things. And yes, sir.
Can you go over stance, your basic stance a little bit?
Yeah, I went through. Let me catch you.
Go back to
I'll catch you. I'll catch you afterwards, because some of these guys went through that with me the first one. Yes, sir.
What if you have a really good athlete, but he can't catch the ball, and you don't have anybody else that can catch, and you have to teach that kid how to catch the ball? What drill,
And basketball
other
is the
than
first one.
basketball, would you do?
Well, that's the first one I'm going to start with. That's not the only one. I mean, and I think there's different. You can start with that. That's a drill that he's got to do. You can make sure he's doing it, but that's not incorporated in your time. That's his time. I think if a guy really wants to get good at it, he's got to do some other things. I mean, I think there's some things you can do. I used to make my guys before practice when I was coaching in college, where I had a medicine ball, and each guy had to get, it was about, I think it was a 10-pound medicine ball, and each guy had, would get buddy up, you're there, and I'm here, boom, 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 strengthen the fingers, okay? Just strengthen the finger, boom, boom, boom. Then take it over the top of our head and throw it back and forth a little bit like that. Again, just strengthen this part of how we catch the ball. And then you got to do, and the other things you got to do, you got to keep him. He gets a little before practice. He gets, in practice, that he gets through the practice element of what you're installing and how you, teach him. Then after practice, you keep him out after practice. Maybe we can quarterback and get, you may line him up in one day and do a little out, or gonna have some, and I think so much of it, and how you teach it is, and how you improve the confidence of the kid is, he's gonna drop some balls. And you gotta, and one thing I never do with a kid, when I teach kids to run routes, and then we're starting, we're running the routes, and I'm installing, and I'm teaching, and they're learning, and they drop the ball, I don't say much to them. You know, because what used to happen was the head coach would be, you didn't catch the ball, and the kid would get nervous, and then what you're telling him as a receiver coach, he's thinking, shit, I gotta keep the head coach is chewing my ass out the hell with my receiver coach. So I used to tell our kids, and the head coach used to hear me say it sometimes, don't worry about it. We're running this route, don't worry. Let's get the route down. Now, if your route's down real good, you don't have to think about running the route anymore. Now, catching the ball becomes very easy. That's where you put all your eggs. If you concentrate on the route, and then you're trying to concentrate on catching the ball, and you're trying to get real good at the route, you can't only do two things at one time. So I'll tell them sometimes, don't worry about catching the ball, it takes the pressure off of it. But then when they get to the point where they're David Boston's, those kind of guys, and I see them get sloppy, I'll shoot, I'll jump their ass. So, the elements, I don't use talk. Concentration is, to me, isn't as much a part of it as bad hand placement or a poor route at the top. It distorts where you're going to be for the quarterback. You know, you see guys sometimes they'll be able to, you know, you ought to be able to walk up and you ought to be able to walk up and shake somebody's hand instead of having to dive for the damn thing. So I think those are things. One thing I was going to tell you about stance. This is the easiest thing to teach a kid about stance. When you talk about the center of gravity, you talk about getting in a good stance, stand up for a second, shake it. Walk up, shake my hand. You got a nice center, so you got a center of gravity right there. You wouldn't walk up to somebody and go like this, would you? Or you wouldn't go like this, would you? Those are how you get distorted centers of gravity. Center of gravity is walking, shake somebody's hand. Body's in the center of gravity right there. Same thing when you in your stance. You want the center of gravity in your stance. Now, be a little bit more tilted, but I'm saying those are things that are really important. Like when we go against press, I always talk to them about if a guy's real tight on you in press, you want to shorten your base up a little bit. Because when you elongate it, what do you have to do? You have to get back to the center of gravity. When you see a guy with a great punch in a boxing ring and he throws, I always say, what do you think hurts more? A roundhouse jab? Or a boom? Right there. That hurts more. Okay? That's more power. Same thing with your stance, where you get your power from. Let's look at this tape right here. Before I jab her away. If you want to see something again, don't be bashful. Oops, is that too much for you? Let me rewind this and get it started. Okay, well, I don't have one of the mechanisms where I can rewind it all the time, so we'll just try to look. We'll try to look. This is some. This is some releases. I think we're moving along. Let's see. Okay, this is the guy that's going to catch it. We got press. Accelerating up the field. Now, one of the other things I tell them, when a ball's coming on a deep pass, and you almost see it right here, is I tell them, never let the ball try to fall below your waistline when you're going on a deep pass, because when invariably when you see a guy let it drop below his waistline, it's going to hit bang in his leg. He loses the ball because its velocity drops so fast. So try to catch the ball waistline right here. He's right at the. He does a great job getting away from the guy, accelerating, squeezing, so he gives the quarterback some room, catches it about waist high, and takes it in the end zone. Okay, we got some releases going on here. This is a release right here. We're working against press right here. Okay, we're working against press. If you want to see something again, I'm just showing you some things about releasing, and then we know we got man coverage, good feet, center of gravity. Watch the transition with the feet. Boom. No crossover steps, which kill you. No crossover steps against the press. Boom. There we go. You then gotta style it up, just make sure you get it in there. Okay, this is when I was with the Chargers. This is Tony Martin right here. This is Tony in his heyday. This is the year he went to the pro. I had it for, Tony was an interesting guy. When we got him, he was kind of in his last leg and he wound up having a great career. This is just working releases. We're working with no ball. We're talking about center of gravity, and we're talking about getting away. We're talking about putting our body in good position. This is him against, I think, Darian Gordon. Yes, sir.
How often do you work like swim moves and stuff like that?
We really don't quote swim anymore. Swimming in art. If you swim, you kind of get killed. So what we do is we work a lot on what I call, we work a lot on what I call shedding, where we don't get our arm up and over. And you see him do it here, and he gets away with it. But I'm just saying, you don't do it a lot. He does a good job with his hands, in that like getting his hands. Excuse me, guys. I'm not real familiar with this mechanism. I don't have that cowboy video I run it back and forth.
Coach, for your press coverage, do you tell your guys in their stance to get their hands up, ready to fight them off, or just nice at your
I want
side?
him relaxed just like he is. You can do all that. I think that other way of doing it is kind of like, just something. Now, here's where we're doing a little we're lead stepping inside, and we're going to shed. We watch him shed with his outside arm right here. Boom, shed, and we talk about accelerating away. Now we got a press. Here's the shed. In our league, what you get a lot of times is we shed because what they want to do, I'm kind of still. Let me put this thing on still. What they like to do in our league on the press is, as you come off on the press, is they try to get above you and cut you off. So what we always try to do is we have a little drill that we do called a shed drill. We buddy up. What I do is I'm the receiver, okay, and you're the defender. So we're buddied up, right? And you're gonna stand up next to me. We're gonna run down the field. You're gonna be the guy you're gonna have that arm right up on my shoulder right here, and I'm just gonna shed you. You're gonna run with that arm right now. I'm just gonna be shedding you. You're gonna be trying to
Run all the way down the field?
probably about 15 yards, and just shed as you go. This is what you want to be doing right here. Not looking. What the young guys want to do is they want to look at the guy. You run up the field, you get away, and you just want to shed and work on getting vertical. We always talked about the press. When people press you, the most important thing for a receiver to do is get vertical fast. Then you become the guy that puts the pressure on the defense. When the defender makes you go east and west, and you can't get vertical fast, what happens is he becomes the driver, and you're playing defense on offense. You want to be the guy dictating, and how good your feet are, how good you get off the press. You don't have to be a great speed guy. Some of the great speed guys I've seen can't get off the press because they think they can outrun everybody. Those are some little elements right there.
Coach, you have a progression to teach that?
Yep.
Stuff right there, you gonna show us tomorrow?
Yes,
Okay.
I sure do. I'm going to play rewind this. I'm going to show you a couple shots. These again are more releases. Okay. You'll see. This is Terrence Shaw. There's a real good shot. Did you see the shed? Right. The shed should be right there. You see Charlie. This is Charlie Jones, who was I had him as a rookie. Caught 45 passes. That's a 200-pound guy right there. That's
Charlie?
Yeah.
You sure?
Huh?
Old school Charlie. You sure he was doing it?
No, I'm talking about the defensive backs, 200. Charlie's 165. No, I knew Charlie was a little guy. Charlie would have been a great player if he could have stayed healthy. Right there, that 200-pound guy. I'm going to go through this stuff tomorrow morning, Dave. There's the shed. And you get it all right there. that last one was, you know, you kinda, the only thing I didn't like on his, this is that one, I want. Now, shed, squeeze, when you hear me say squeeze, you see those little lines on the sideline? Let me just show you. Stop this. See these lines right here? We did this when I was here, and I did it when we did it in Detroit. When we're working on our press releases and going against our defensive backs, we put those lines right there, 3 yards from the sideline. And that's to make our quarterback not lead the receiver out of bounds, and that's for the receiver to try to keep that distance from the sideline, so that you don't get the old, he gets knocked east and west, quarterback throws the ball, they catch it, the band plays louder, the crowd screams, and the referee says you're out of bounds. Second down and 10. So that's why we put those like a hash mark down that sideline.
Are you guys starting on the numbers?
Yes. Or we like to start on the outside edge of the numbers. We use numbers are our reference for, but we're more fortunate because the ball is more in the middle of the field. But we use the numbers as a reference for where we start on some things, just depends on what we're running. One thing about football, you find you have lots of plays. This is what I call directional releases that we use. Johnny Morton. Charlie, guys, let it run. You see this again. Okay, and you saw that. This is the good shed, squeeze, good throw, catch. This is a little directional. You got a real aggressive corner who's trying to jam. We start shed. You know how I told you about center of gravity? Center of gravity, squeeze, drop your weight, ball's low, surround it if you can. And again, these are just releases different against our DBs, working different techniques. And I'll show you some of this tomorrow. Now, this is a fade drill. Everybody, and what we do, and you'll see, you know, everybody likes to do, everybody's asking me all the time, you know, you run the fade drill on the goal line, and we work on it every week. One of the things that we do is, we told our in '97, we probably threw, when I was in Detroit the first year, we probably threw 10 touchdowns in the red zone from the 5-yard, just throwing a fade. Some of them were where we went like this, and some of them were back shoulder. You know, where the guy plays up above us as we come off the ball. The quarterback sees it, and then he throws the ball on the guy's back shoulder. And I used to have all kind of guys say, well, how do y'all do that? What do you tell them? Here's what we told them. I tell the receiver, you come off the ball, and you beat that defender like you're going to catch the fade on top of it every single time. The quarterback makes the decision about back shoulder. You don't make it. Because if you start doing that, what happens is the receiver says, well, I thought, and the quarterback says, well, I thought, so what we just eliminate the receiver, you haul ass, get to the back of the end zone like you're going to catch it deep in the back part of the end zone, and the quarterback, you make the decision. If you feel like that guy's playing up above him, you throw that back shoulder and let him catch it, but you got to work on it. We work on it down there every Thursday in our one-on-one. That's what we do instead of being up in the field. You know, on Wednesday we work our one-on-one routes, first down routes. We work our one-on-one, our deeper stuff, comebacks, digs, that type of stuff. But when we get in the red zone, we work on Thursday, so we don't run them quite as much. We work more on we work more on fades, and we work on slants. We work on one-on-one. We're working on some things that we're going to do in that area of the field.
Not that happen more either.
No, but that's at one point in time, Herman got to where that was all he could do, was do that as he ran out, as he aged. Just a nice job with his feet. This is a repeat. You saw that. Here's a good, what I was saying to you, here's a good little route that I wanted, Tony ran in practice, and I just wanted, the throws see himself. Again, there's a nice look around, the ball's not thrown, but now here's us working on cover two. Okay, this is us working, and I'll show you this tomorrow. How many of you guys you get a lot of too deep? Yeah, this is a release drill. You remind me tomorrow. This is us working releases on versus cover two. Sometimes, here's some hard press. You know, as I was telling you, watch you got the bottom of the tape right here. Whoops. Watch the, I wish I could slow mo this thing down right here. Watch at the bottom right here, watch the release. You know, that's what I call working hard at. You know, gotta squeeze them, bad throw, nice route. Right here. This is what I call slip. This is a slip technique that we use, right? Sorry about that. Sometimes when you mash this thing, it won't go back right away. This is a slip. You'll see her. The slip technique is when the guy's playing his outside shade and press, and we widen it and then we slip it. We miss the throw. It's fourth down, could have won the game. Again, that's a slip technique in this cover two. Again, I'll talk about these things more tomorrow. These are all release things. Here's the throw. This is what I call, we work on these little, this is what I call a little one-step drill. When you got a corner playing you real tight, we work on a little one-step technique just to get them to feet. There's the old great job of feet and then the head on this right here, watch. Vertical, drop, and your head comes around. Be over here, just working a fade, slipping them. This is a one-step deal. You know how we did one step? Oop, this is us against the Chiefs. Here we went to the Super Bowl. This is just a two-deep deal where we're throwing a fade against middle field open guy. Right there, we throw it up the sideline. This is 1 yard. This is just another release technique that we don't complete this. This is just working the corner. You have to work the corners different normally if you don't. This is we're working this guy. Let me see. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, just he bails and we run a quick out. Too many moves. Get 5 yards until you got more. This is us on a press technique. Price. This is us, we miss it right here, we're working the press, this is all press stuff right here. This is us on the press technique. This is us checking. I think we were working on the press. We're going to go over here. Squeeze. This is us working a press technique. Nice throw and catch. That's how. That's why when you go to camp and you work on all this stuff and you can do it in the game like right here, it's all worthwhile to be able to do that. Good footwork. Now, you see right here, Coach, you were asking me more about, go back on this. Let me just show you something about this right here. Watch his feet. See how he's under control? You want to move quick, but you want to be under control. So when the mistake, when the error is made, boom, now he accelerates. We never get a pass interference call on this guy. So it's, this is the playoff game, we're getting them back beat. This is us in practice, and we're working this guy here. No, this is us throwing, again, throwing fade, just throwing a fade. Squeeze it. Now, we're in an indoor field, that defensive back knows the drill, so. Now, here's a little technique that I've been using for years. This is what I call, these are directional. I want to show you. We got a couple, when I show you this one right here, you're going to see good shed right there. You're going to see this DB's playing outside the 2 deep look. We're going to stretch it and run the slant. See how we make that, use that want to use the instep.
Coach, how hard do you want them breaking inside? You want them at 45, you want them getting skinny?
Well, again, let me get this running for a second. Let me show you something about that slant. It's a good question.
I know that's the eternal battle on slants.
Well, different technique. I teach a lot of different techniques on the slant. One of the techniques, when you're running slants, if you got a 2 deep zone, I mean, I'm going to show you, I don't have all, like I said, I didn't break my tape, but if you're running slants on 2 deep zones, say you're running, say you got 2 tight ends, or you say you don't have anybody, say you call something, we run a play like this. We come out, we call this trip swing. We run this, we'll call 261. We'll call ace, look ace 261, so they may play us like this, and we can do it at 3 wides. This is a tight end, this could be a tight end or a wide receiver, this is a wide receiver. And when you get too deep over here, and they got regular people in the game, you get that look right there. A lot of times this guy will shade you outside, he's coached, don't let him outside, put pressure on him. So I tell him to stretch this guy a little bit. Try to work your nose to his outside. Remember I told you radar's his nose. Try to work your nose to his outside armpit. He widens a little bit, now you come off that instep. When you break it, you want to break it at that angle. Now you keep a good distribution between, if you break it, if you take this thing and you hit it real flat, you'll run into that guy. So that's one of the things we try to keep, when we know going against the zone, we try to stretch that thing and keep that angle so we get a nice big, nice hole right in there. Now, if we got man-to-man coverage, I'll teach them a couple different ways. We did this against Charles Woodson last year, and David caught a touchdown pass when we won the game up there at Oakland. This is not last year, but in 2001. We would do Charles was a guy that plays you a lot of jam, plays you a lot of press, gives you a lot of different looks. And I like to teach when you got guys playing real tight, what I call one-step technique. So, come up here, I don't know, which first name? Okay. You're the DB, and he's playing me real, playing me fairly tight. We'll do what I call one-step, watch my feet, okay? When the ball snapped, I anticipate you're gonna try to jam it. So, as I come off the ball, I'll leave this foot anchored down, I'm gonna step, I'm gonna catch your hands right here like this, do this, pushing them, run inside. It's man-to-man coverage, everybody's locked up, so you're not worried about trying to stretch a zone on that thing, because everybody's locked up in man, you know what I'm saying? So, we use a one-step technique against tight man coverage. Now, the other man coverage, if I've got David Boston out here, and I know that I'm mismatched again, I know he's faster than this guy, and he's pressing, what do you think he's gonna try to do when the ball snaps? He's gonna try to always be playing where? Up high. So what we'll do is we'll use what I call a stretch, we'll use a stretch technique against a guy that's gonna play us high, and what we do is we go come on, a little closer. We'll use 2 full revolutions, so I'm gonna come off the ball right away, and I'm gonna show you where I'm going. I want you to think I'm running the fade. So I know he's gonna play me high, so I come off, I'm start right here, okay, up here, he's going right here, and he gets right here, boom, now I'm gonna cut up underneath him, because I know he's playing me above, he's playing me high all the time. The hardest thing to teach is when you tell them go 2 full revolutions, they all wanna go about 6 inches, and then they think they gotta run down inside, because they all get nervous. But that's a technique that we use, but like we'll run this one right here, and we just read, how they play it. When we run this one right here, we'll go, this guy, we'll run what we call 2, and we'll go 6, and this is the 1, and we'll go F flat right here out of that look right there. We can run it out of that look, we can run it out of the bunch look, and we'll just read the coverage, and we can take it either way we want to go. If we get a lot of cover 2, we'll take it over here. If we get a lot of cover 3, we'll go over here. Or man, it just depends. David's matched up over here and they play man coverage, we'll go over there, no matter what the hell they play, unless if they're in man. So those are some things that are, little things that we do. And I'll show you some of that stuff on the field. It'll be warmer too. Ran back a little further than we needed to. You see the stretch on this one, right? He's covered too. Don't,
See a little flat there with that one, right?
maybe a touch.
I think that's what I thought.
Just a touch.
Question.
Not, but you can't go too high though, because if you go too flat, too thin, that guy undercuts you at the corner. See what I'm saying? There's a fine line in there. This is great release. This is what I call, this is patience and acceleration on this release right here. Watch it accelerate. Feet first, what I tell you, feet and the head, right? Watch his feet, and then his head come around.
Coach, on that, is he using first, at the top of the stop route, is he stopping, using his inside foot to stop a little and planting on the outside foot, or how do you?
Here's what we do. Outside foot, get you out, and basically when you run an inside route, your outside foot, the instep, if you watch all these guys, let me go back on this right here. This damn thing doesn't have a slow mo back in it, mine, I can show you real. Watch his outside instep on his outside foot. See how that foot you gotta get that foot turned to get back, to push back to the quarterback. You have to do that. And if you're with me tomorrow, I'll show you that on the field.
Okay,
Kind of like pigeon toe, huh?
A little bit. You gotta turn that instep. If your foot stays straight and you're trying to stop going vertical, what happens is you accelerate. When you're accelerating and you're running, if this foot's flat like that when you're trying to come out, the problem you got is you go. When you run it, now you have to. You're striding and you see them. You have to get what center of gravity to get out of the route. Because if you're like this, you can't get out. You're going to cross over. So when you're accelerating up the field, and then you got to. And I have a little drill I make them do all early in practice. So they'll do this right here. I'll make them do this. They get down the white chalk line. I'll make them shuffle their feet, and they'll go like this. They'll go. See how I'm coming? See how I'm pushing? If you watch that foot right there, I'm pushing. I'm shuffling my feet. And I'm turning that foot. One thing I think it's a little thing, but it's real important. When you're teaching kids techniques, and I was watching you guys, when you're saying to them, I'm teaching you how to get out the speed turn. make sure they're looking at your feet, not your ass. Make sure they're looking at your feet and not you and your eyes. You can't see what you're teaching. So you need to make sure if you put an emphasis on catching the ball and hand placement, you want to make sure they're looking at your hand placement and not looking at your feet. You know, it's really important because I'll be teaching sometimes and I'll look, and I'm teaching at their feet and the guy's looking at my eyes. You ain't going to learn it by looking at my eyes. You're going to learn it by what I want by your feet. As I was telling you, that tree on those stopping type routes, they're the hardest to teach. And the hardest thing to teach is being sudden and accelerating out of those routes. Because you have a tremendous, when you're telling a guy to run a 16-yard hook and he runs a 4.540 or whatever the hell he runs, and he's cranking up the field, he's at max speed when he's probably at 15 yards. So now you got to drop that weight. You always see our guys, they drop that weight. You got to drop. You deaccelerate by dropping your weight, not by leaning back, and not by leaning forward. It's like I see guys that in a lot of colleges at the end of the route they do that to try to influence the defensive back to think they're going deep, and the only guy that gets in trouble is them because they can't get out of the thing because you're overextended. And you see everything we do. That asses at the end of it when you're doing them, you got to stop. You got to get that butt up under you.
Also, you're going to talk tomorrow about changing speeds and routes. Right? Like, do you keep, like, say, you burst, slide, burst,
No.
or you just strictly...
We're always on the accelerator.
Okay.
Now, there'll be certain times, maybe on a certain route, we might have a little delay on it,
Right.
but I always tell them you want to look the same to the defense. You know, you can animate yourself to make people think you're going fast if you look smooth. It's not all about being jerky, and it's just about, you know, here's the example I always use. If you're sitting in front of your house on your porch and a car comes down the street at 50 miles an hour, okay, and then it comes down the street at 70 miles an hour, does the car look any different? No. You can tell it's going faster a little bit by the sound of it, but as the car goes by, it looks the same. That's how you want to pretend. That's how you want to be as a receiver. You want to always look the same. Okay. You know, if you look the same, you're smooth and fluid. A defensive back a lot of times has a hard time picking up how fast you are. It's when you're jerky and all that stuff that you give yourself away. We base everything. Here's what I want going up the field. I want them to fear us up the field. I want a smooth, fluid guy who's attacking the defense and making people go that way. We're going to push you vertically. We're going to make you now. I have a more luxury because I have guys that got, we can draft guys with speed, but it's still teaching them how to use their speed and be fluid. And I want to show you the kid you've seen on here makes some plays 82. He was a kid I had in Detroit in 1999. He was the second leading receiver in the NFC. He had about right at 4. He was 50 yards behind Randy Moss. In 2000, he got hurt, and then he got hurt again in 2000. And I left, and he got hurt in 2001 season. He ruptured his patella tendon. His name is Jermaine Crowell. Could have been a great receiver. He was a guy who could run fast, but had a terrible time stopping. That's the same guy. You said to me, somebody asked me a question about him turning that foot. That 82 kid, that was the same kid. He couldn't stop it on a damn dollar, never mind on a dime. And the point about the whole thing is you can teach him if you if you give him the proper discipline in terms of making him do it over and over and over again. And he was a pretty high draft pick for us, and so I had to invest a lot of time in him. But he got to be a pretty guy that could stop, and then his speed became that much more effective, and he could use it. So. This is our Thursday practice thing. Here's a little bit of here's a little shed. Nice job of shedding, just working on a goal line. Now, I want to show you this comeback right here because this will be the last thing. What you got at the bottom of the screen there? Remember me telling you what's feet and then the head? He just nice and patient with his route. Right here. Corner overruns him a little bit, makes a nice catch. We got everything we want right here on this route. Excuse me. This will be the last hurrah here, but you'll see it right. You see him done a great job of stretching on the post, what we call feet first and then the head. Get your feet. Here he is right here. Here's a cute little thing. This kid right here had a chance to be a player for us. You know how to get too deep? Watch if he's going to fake like he's going inside, the corner's going to sit in there. And we go back outside of him, just double clutching.